Carlos Maza is creating his own YouTube account, and he's ready to fight. He's ready to get all you right-wingers demonetized. You see, creating an adpocalypse and painting centrists and conservatives as bad guys, well, that wasn't enough for Carlos Maza. His reign of terror will not end. He won't stop until every conservative, every right-winger, and every liberal on YouTube is destroyed. And so here we are on the verge. Headline: Carlos Maza is back on YouTube and ready to fight. Oh boy, I can't wait to see this socialist fight with his big arms and his muscles and his soy-based diet. Oh boy, I can't wait. So what kind of man is Carlos Maza? What does he promote? Well, I just want to look at a few of his tweets before we look at this article and the video he's posted to YouTube. The first thing you should know is that Carlos Maza is a communist. Here he says, "I don't understand the whole point of this free market economy." You mean the ability to buy and sell things that you produce yourself for a profit? Yeah, you wouldn't. You wouldn't understand what a free market economy is. It's the ability of any person in a country to produce their own goods, to sell those own goods, and to get a profit. It's capitalism, free market. Anybody can buy and sell anything, and people can make money if you want to. In socialism, the state, they own everything. They get all the money. They make all the money. They decide what gets made. It doesn't really work because there's no free hand in the market. There's no way to regulate what people actually want. So it ends up being really, really crappy, and there's not enough bread to go around. I don't even know if I could read the rest of this on YouTube, honestly, but he basically says, free markets aren't about doing certain things. I don't even know if I can read the rest of this on YouTube, but basically, he just wants to sit in public parks all day, enjoy legal consumption products, and just listen to music. Basically be a hippie. He's also a man who has advocated for deplatforming. Here, Carlos Maza says, deplatforming works, and we should use it way more aggressively. There you have it, folks. Now, before we look into this, because I will be reviewing him, I will be reading this article, and I will be laughing at him. This communist, far-left activist. A quick word from this week's sponsor.
Zuck the cuck drinks water like a duck, but he also drinks your data. So tell him and Google to shove your data up their schwing-schwangs by downloading the Brave browser. It's free, blocks online advertising, and protects your privacy and data from evil tech companies. You only see ads if you want to see them, and you get cryptocurrency for your attention. Don't let Zuck use you to make a buck. Download Brave by clicking on the link down below.
And we're back. Okay, so Maza is leaving Vox to pursue being a full-time YouTube creator. Wasn't he fired from Vox? Last I heard, he got fired, or he was let go. What is this about? Oh, he's just leaving Vox to pursue a YouTube career. You expect me to believe that? You expect me to believe that this man that they no longer wanted is going to YouTube to become independent or whatever? This man, he has no place on YouTube. He's advocated for deplatforming. He has no place on any platform, as far as I'm concerned. Last year, after setting off a firestorm around YouTube's harassment policies, aka he was mad that a conservative YouTuber who shall not be named, rhymes with chowder, made fun of him, made jokes. YouTube reviewed this complaint, and they said, well, actually, we don't see him breaking any policies, but Carlos Maza, being a communist that he is, he shilled really hard, and he complained. He got his leftist friends to try and deplatform Stephen Chowder. That's the kind of man he is, and they took his money away. So you're telling me the guy who took away a conservative's monetization, hurt his channel, got him shadow banned and suppressed, he's just allowed to go on YouTube now and get money, get monetized? You know, I could be wrong about this, but I really don't think he deserves it. Maza is leaving Vox.com, which produced his old show, to become a full-time media critic on YouTube. Oh, I can't wait for the cancer. I can't wait for the absolute travesty that this will be. Now, I have zero interest or belief in anything Maza has to do. Of course, you see, Maza, he knows what he is. He's a far-left activist. And what he wants to do is turn all of America into a communist country, which would destroy America as we know it. Because that's what they do. That's cultural Marxism in a nutshell. YouTube is one of the biggest threats. It's how a huge chunk of the public gets their news. I want all right-wingers to be banned, and liberals too. That way, I can brainwash and do propaganda of socialism to the masses. Basically, he wants everyone who's liberal, centrist, conservative, he wants them all gone. That way, there'll only be the far left, only be these communists, and then he can push his nonsense on people. He's mad. The left always projects. They always accuse their enemies of what they do. Vox is well known for producing nothing but leftist propaganda. It's ridiculous. They're not unbiased. They're not centrist. They're not even fair. Now here is the irony. Here's why I think that Maza I don't think he'll have a real career. I effing hate that I have to use this platform because there's nowhere else to go, Maza says. YouTube is being managed by bad people, and it's evil in ways people don't recognize. The company truly does not give an F about the damage it does to democracy. I want to honk, but I have no horn. I'm kicking and screaming, working with the company in that way, but it's only because there's absolutely nowhere else to go. Oh. So, you've pushed for censorship online, you've pushed for deplatforming, you've pushed for people to not be able to make a living on platforms like YouTube and have free speech. You have argued against free speech. And now you're crying because you have nowhere else to go? Whose fault is that? It's your fault. It's people like you who advocate for silence of critics, silence of people you don't like, argue against freedom of speech. It's people like you who have destroyed any chance for free speech. See, that's what these guys don't get. If you try to get rid of people, the pendulum swings, okay? First they come for the conservatives, then they come for the centrists, then they start coming for you. Oh yeah, you'll get silenced. Knowing the kind of person Carlos Maza is, I think he's gonna end up getting demonetized anyway, because he's gonna post extremely leftist content, probably. I don't see him making it. Oh, I see how it is. Okay, so monetization isn't simple on YouTube. There are so many subjects that aren't advertiser friendly. Creators have accused YouTube of suppressing views for videos that deal with sensitive subject matters. It does. YouTube executives have denied these allegations in the past. And they're lying. Speaking as a YouTube creator, absolutely, they suppress stuff. And they're full of it. Okay, let's be real here, right? Maza doesn't expect to earn much money from YouTube. Instead, he's gonna use Patreon, blah, 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 to pay his rent. Okay, so, Carlos Maza, yeah, he's going independent because he was kicked out of everything after his disgrace. Let's look at his video. I think we should look at his video.
General leftist bullshit.
Basically his entire channel. That's basically Carlos Maza in a nutshell. General leftist bull. So this is how Carlos describes himself. Cuban, Aries, scared of men, support main, the face of liberal fascism, and a pretty obviously, are those quotes? Did he put that in ironically? It's kind of cringe. He's scared of men, but he is a man. I don't understand it. And I don't want to understand it.
Breaking free from the prison of corporate media and seizing the means of your own production.
Oh, cringe. I told you this guy was a communist. He's like seizing the means of production. That's a communist meme. But you know what the irony is? You know what's the irony about seize the means of production? In communist theory, right? In socialist theory, seizing the means of production is when you go to the factory that some poor bloke built for 20 years, worked hard, got it up and running, manages the whole thing, and you take his factory from him with all the workers in an uprising, and you take the means of production, and then the workers own everything. Except when the commies take power, the state takes the means of production, and really, your boss is now the state instead of the hardworking man. Doesn't really work out. But seizing the means of your own production, in other words, going independent on YouTube, that's capitalism. Carlos Maza, you sly dog. You were a capitalist this entire time, weren't you?
Your inner soy boy and the socialist dreamboat you've always wanted to be.
Does that even need any context? Like, I love how the left tries to appropriate memes and say, look, I'm using soy boy to refer to myself. Aren't I amazing? Aren't I not a soy boy? No, I mean, if someone calls you an insult and then you call yourself that insult, you're just insulting yourself. Yeah, I think this is his real self. Marxist. He's a Marxist. Chaotic good, wrong. He's chaotic evil. Kind to everyone. Kind of into everyone? Okay. Whatever. I don't care.
I don't need a left flank, okay? I'm already an Antifa super soldier. You voted for Hillary.
He calls himself unironically an Antifa super soldier. Antifa is a terror group that spread they're violent. They're criminals. They're bad people. Do I need to say more? This man supports violent, criminal extremists. Why is he allowed on YouTube? I don't support those kinds of people. Far from it. I speak out against violent and criminal groups on a daily basis. And yet this guy gets to go on YouTube and be a menace?
Propaganda, the death of the spirit under capitalism. Relax.
So he's going to destroy capitalism by doing capitalism. Interesting, isn't it?
Wow, another YouTuber talking to themselves to avoid being held accountable for what they say. Groundbreaking. Whatever this is, I don't want it.
It's called criticism, and just because you're making light of it doesn't mean it doesn't matter. You're going to get criticized. That's kind of what being a YouTuber is about.
I'm your right flank, baby. The reasonable centrist who believes in compromise. The classical liberal who only wants to protect free speech. And the swing voter you're gonna lose with this soy boy bullshit. You can call me Charles.
So look how he describes Charles, who promotes free speech. I think it's pretty evident. He's the worst. He's lawful evil. He gets off to SJW cringe compilations. Yeah, so this is apparently a right-winger. How little self-awareness do these people have? I mean, you're kind of making yourself look bad.
Okay, you need a godless centrist? I'm your guy. You need a fascist bootlicker? Sign me up. How can you be a centrist and a fascist?
That's a very, very good question. But I bet he believes it. You see, this guy is so far left that the center looks far right.
Plus, if I don't roast you, the commenters will. They're gonna roast him anyways. He's like ContraPoints with no confidence. He's like Philosophy Tube with no upper body strength. He's the only person pathetic enough to make people root for Stephen Craig. Hey.
Is that a moment of clarity? Nah, no way.
Anyway, I thought you hated YouTube. Now you have your own channel? I mean... I do hate YouTube. I do hate YouTube. It's a shitty company that exploits its creators and doesn't deserve to exist. But while it does, I might as well flood its airways with leftist propaganda.
Okay, nothing needs to be said anymore. That's it. That's it. That sums up everything. Like, I'm actually amazed. I don't actually have to prove anything or make a convincing argument. This guy says it all. I mean, that's all, folks. Let's look at the comments, and then I gotta get away from this. Here, Ryan Lichtenstein says, "Your inner soy boy." Hilarious. Now here's a telling comment, and this is probably what's gonna happen. Stephen Jones says, "I'm looking forward to the irony when he gets demonetized." Now, he's gonna feel himself with Patreon and all that, so even if he does, I don't think it's gonna matter. But, yeah, this guy, he claims to want socialism, but... this guy, he's a hypocrite, and I think he's a bad person. But he's still probably going to get support from other socialists, ironically. They're all going to do capitalism together to prove that socialism is bad, that capitalism is bad. Now, honestly, these comments kind of depress me, because a lot of them support the guy. Yeah, look, 6 Hex and Hammer. AstroTurfing thy name is. Spoon Clank, I'm going to give that a thumbsy upsy. So let's leave off with this comment. Elizabeth says, "Steven Crowder is going to have his way with you when he discovers you've returned from the abyss, and I can't wait." Addendum. Going solo means learning a bunch of stuff that I didn't have to before. Kind of like the show you hosted on Vox. Well, I think it's true. I'm sure Carlos Maza is the kind of guy who will try to silence any and all criticism, probably through abuse of copyright or something like that. You know he's the type. Which would be a huge mistake if he does. He's got like 8,000 subs right now. It's not bad. I was there once. But if he tries to like silence criticism, that's not going to end well. Well, it's not going to end well for Carlos, that's for sure. If he does try to abuse like DMCA or something, I will go after him. I will report him. I will be relentless. But these are just my thoughts. I think it goes without saying that Carlos Maza doesn't belong on YouTube, but that's merely the obvious. Well, that's all for now, folks. What do you think about this video? What do you think about Carlos Maza going independent? Oh, it's going to be so juicy, so nice. God. Let me know what you think. Now, as always, if you want to support the content, because honestly, yeah, monetization, no monetization, these days, nobody's making any money. So if you want to support the content, join me on Patreon, Subscribe Star, whichever you prefer. There is a joining bonus if you're interested. Details are on my pages. Links below down in the description. And you can also donate via Bitcoin. I know it's hard to get into Bitcoin, so I am so swamped right now, but I do want to open up more donation options. Oh, and share the video. Let everybody know about glorious Carlos Maza's return. He's gonna do the socialism and silence all those liberals and right-wingers and conservatives and neoconservatives and basically everybody except the socialists. Share the video. As always, thanks for watching. This has been Mr. Obvious, and I'll see you all next time.